On behalf of the town of Smyrna, I would like to welcome each of you to our annual Veterans Day celebration. My name is David Santucci. I'm your town manager and proud veteran. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our Smyrna Town Council and other dignitaries who have joined us here today. At this time, I would ask that you please stand, if you are able, as a Town of Smyrna Fire Department Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Senior Vice Commander Charlie Goodreau, followed by the National Anthem, played by our very own Stewarts Creek High School Apollo Contra Ensemble.
Honor guard. Hold.
Everyone face the colors. Present arm. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic to which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, just for all.
Order. On.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order. On. Right. Face. Forward. March.
I would now like to introduce Chaplain John Radzowski, who will lead us in prayer.
Please rise and uncover those that can. Lord, bless all those who wear the uniform. Bless their families. Bless those they love. Give them your great favor this day and every day. Thank you, Lord, that we are free to worship, we are free to speak, we are free to share. Help us to stand strong in your purpose. Thank you, Lord, for being with us always in this life and in the next. So I pray, amen.
You may now be seated. It is my privilege to bring back to the podium Senior Vice Commander Charlie Goodreau.
All right, I just want to appreciate you all come out. I know it's cold, nice and crispy, but sunny. Thing is, thanks to all the veterans that are here, and thank for all the veterans that are overseas. And the VFW Post 8422 on Smyrna, Old National Highway, we're going to have lunch at 12 o'clock. So, appreciate y'all.
If you would, please join me in welcoming back the Stewarts Creek High School Apollo Contra Ensemble under the direction of Dr. Susan Kelly and Dr. Brian Russell to sing America the Beautiful. It is my privilege to introduce Staff Sergeant Robert Keith McElroy, who is a retired U.S. Army bandsman. A native of Pulaski, Tennessee, Keith joined the Army after graduating from Giles County High School in 1981, 3 days after graduation. During his 20-year career, Staff Sergeant McElroy performed with 7 Army bands as a trumpet player, conductor, group leader, section leader, squad leader, and as a non-commissioned officer in charge of various admin and operational positions. His assignments included the 14th Army Band, Fort McClellan, Alabama, 2nd Infantry Division Band, Camp Casey, South Korea, 4th Infantry Division Band, Fort Carson, Colorado, 298th Army Band, Berlin, Germany, 3rd and 1st Infantry Division Band, Bamberg, Germany, and 1st Cavalry Division Band, Fort Hood, Texas. During his assignments in Europe, his bands were deployed to Bosnia, augmenting military police's Tactical Operations Center security support. Staff Sergeant McElroy's military awards include Meritorious Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal with 3 bronze oak leaf clusters, Army Achievement Medal with 1 silver oak leaf cluster, Army Support Unit Award, Army Good Conduct Medal with 1 silver oak leaf cluster, Army of Occupation Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Armed Forces Services Medal, Non-Commissioned Officers Professional Development Ribbon, Army Service Ribbon, 3 Army Overseas Service Ribbons, and the Silver German Armed Forces Achievement Badge. Upon retiring from the U.S. Army, Keith started his second career in the banking industry, first with MBNA in the Department of Credit Card Issuance in Addison, Texas, and when they were acquired by Bank of America, Keith worked in infrastructure and collateral management as an officer in the Department of Card Issuance. In 2007, Keith was nominated and awarded Bank of America's prestigious award for excellence, the top 2% of employees across the corporation. In 2012, Keith entered the physical security arena as an operations manager for Universal Protection Services, or Allied Universal, in Dallas, Texas. Keith is a graduate of MTSU and holds a bachelor's degree in business administration with a minor in economics and finance. He is also a graduate of Brookhaven College in Dallas, Texas, with an associate's degree in business administration and business management. As a supporter of U.S. troops, Keith served 2 consecutive terms as the Commander for Disabled American Veterans, Big D, Chapter 57 in Dallas, Texas. Supporting the chapter and the Dallas military community, Keith used and continues to use his talents by supporting military and surrounding community events with music and playing taps. He just recently retired and has become an active and delighted member of the Smyrna Senior Activity Center. Keith now lives in Laverne with his 3 cats, Kitty, Wide, and Narrow. He has a 29-year-old daughter who lives in Berlin, Germany. Keith enjoys the fine arts, world travel, dining out, live jazz, camaraderie, and a good movie to discuss and debate. Please welcome Staff Sergeant McElroy.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you and the town of Smyrna for your consideration and opportunity for me to be here on such an amazing and auspicious day. You know, we're going to do something, all right? So you know we're musicians, so we got to have some music, all right? So bear with me here. So in your program, you should see the Armed Forces medley. I want you to sing with me. Most importantly, when your song comes up, I want you to stand. Sit down afterwards, because everyone else must stand. But at the end, I want everyone standing. So where are my Army dogs? I don't hear anybody. Who? No Navy here? There we go. Coast Guard? Yeah, Air Force. Thank you. All right, where are they? Where are they? I know they're here. Thank you. All right, for this big ending, it doesn't matter if you know anyone, family member, if it's you, stand up when you hear this. Army, stand up. Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force, States. Yeah. Give everybody a hand now. That should warm me up a little bit, shouldn't it? I don't know. That, my friends, brings back over 20 years of annual celebrations that I participated in as a trumpet player here and abroad, recognizing and applauding just what we witnessed, you. The selfless pride of branch, and love of country. That's what today is all about. Give yourself a hand. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, elected officials, esteemed guests, members of the armed forces, and especially our veterans. It's such an honor for me to stand before you today on this Veterans Day 2025. Thank goodness it's today and not yesterday. I think we would be indoors, most likely. When Todd Spearman, Smyrna's assistant town manager, reached out to me with this invitation, I was extremely honored by the town's respect and consideration. I worked with Dave and Todd last year playing taps for Memorial Day. Since then, I've gotten to know Dave a bit better since he stops by the Senior Activity Center here in Smyrna every so often. And as I've seen over the past year, the Town Hall of Smyrna is quite active and engaged in providing well-orchestrated events for the community to enjoy. So I want to thank Dave, Todd, and Ms. Heather Kent, the Smyrna's Public Information Officer, for the support in helping me make this an awesome event. Not knowing exactly what Todd was looking for, I assumed, he wanted me to play taps again. But Todd said, no, we want you to speak. Be our keynote speaker. In your own words, share what Veterans Day means to you. Now, as a 20-year career U.S. Army bandsman, because of the fact that we did change of commands for battalions, brigades, posts, retirement ceremonies, promotion ceremonies, you name it, I'll probably listen to more speeches than anybody else here, sometimes in multiple languages. So the idea of me hearing a speech or preparing a speech was like, I can do this. But then as I thought about it, I thought, what will I talk about? But for this opportunity to speak and not specifically provide music, it left me a bit dumbfounded, stunned, if you will. Even though I've heard many speeches and have given a few, I didn't know exactly how to approach this day. Well, that was until I thought about it. I thought, you know what? I learned in school, the best story you can tell is your story. So I thought about my journey, my pride, and my love and concerns for this country. Only then did I think I could do this. So please sit back, lend me your ears, and I promise to follow the guidelines given to preachers back in the day. Get up, speak up, and shut up. Concerning my contributions to the greatest military on earth, when I have asked people, what do you think I did in the military? I think only once or twice has anyone ever guessed the band, a military musician. Normally I would hear, the band? The Army has a band? Or from those smart soldiers, they would say, oh, the band, you guys, you didn't do anything. But then from our post-commanding generals, they would always say, oh, yes, I had a great band at Fort Dix or Fort Huachuca, Fort Hood, wherever. They were proud of the band. They knew what we did and the important role that we played. So it's kind of like, if you don't know, you wouldn't know. So today I want to share a little bit about my journey as a soldier/military musician, the pride I have in the Army and the other branches of our military, and finally, my love and respect and concerns for this country. Now, military bands have been around since George Washington and the American Revolutionary War. In fact, they played an integral role on the battlefield. Beginning with the Continental Army in 1756, commanders and troops relied heavily on fife and drums for communication and control from the top down to the soldiers. Quote, over time, bands evolved from tactical units to a major morale and diplomatic force, with the Marine Corps, believe it or not, establishing the first official band in 1798, followed by the Army, Navy, and Air Force, developing their own premier ensembles, unquote, Google, U.S. Army bands. Military bands play a major and significant soft warfare role overseas, supporting community and official events. The presence of our fine musicians performing any genre of music that you can think of bridges a gap between countries with notes flying through the air. So for those who don't know, we've been around for a minute. Those bugle calls that you've ever witnessed or heard on TV were just that, calls for direction and action. Reveille, wake up, get up, it's time to go. Charge, attack. Mess call, it's time to eat. Retreat, it's the end of the day, let's go home. These are just a few of the 40 bugle calls or more that soldiers had to learn and react to include the last call of the day, lights out. Known today as taps, though. It was adopted in 1891 as a symbol of military remembrance, past and present. Known today mostly for funerals, graveside services, and Memorial Day. Now, my journey. As a kid growing up in Pulaski, Tennessee, military always fascinated me. Maybe it was because of my late dad, Robert Louis McElroy, who served with the 101st at Fort Campbell, jumping out of helicopters and planes. Or perhaps it was the sad and mysterious stories of my cousin's death, a Vietnam MIA veteran, Thomas McElroy. Or possibly it was the respect and glee I would see on the faces of my family members when they would talk about anyone from Pulaski who was in or had served in the military. Or just maybe by chance, because of a particular mentoring moment in my life, it was due to my dear Uncle Joseph C. McElroy, who was severely wounded in Vietnam in 1967. See, Uncle Joe was 11 Bravo, infantry mechanized, with the 9th Division, 2nd of the 47th. He was a gunner on an APC, armored personnel carrier for you civilians, when they were ambushed, and he was thrown out of the vehicle, severely damaging his legs and lower extremities. After returning home for many, many months in military hospitals, Uncle Joe took the patience and time to mentor a young lad. He explained to me what a gig line is. A gig line. I couldn't have been no more than 7 or 8 years old, but I totally and vividly remember him taking the time, on crutches, mind you, instructing me how to properly tuck in my shirt, line my shirt overlay with my belt buckle edge, and my zipper flap. That always stuck with me. That, along with many, many other stories and events he has shared with me over the years. And for that, I personally honor him today for his sacrifice. Uncle Joe, would you please stand up? I want them to see who you are. Thank you, Uncle Joe, for being here. So you can now blame him why I'm so, let's just say, so meticulous about everything. Fast forward. In 1980, the 14th Army Band out of Fort McClellan, Alabama, came to Giles County High School in Pulaski, my high school, for the student body and gave a performance. Afterwards, my high school band director, the late Bob Carpenter, who too was an Army National Guard bandsman, trumpet player, suggested I audition for the possibility of becoming a military musician. What did I have to lose? He had faith, even if I didn't. Well, with a prayer and a tailwind, I passed the audition, and as they say, the rest is history. During the summer while hauling hay with high school friends and trying to make a nickel, a good friend of mine always to this day talked to me about the idea of how I explained to them how I was going to join the Army. They laughed. Well, I got down on the ground and did a little bit of a low crawl maneuver for them to show them that I could do it. Now, that doesn't sound like much, I'm quite sure, right? But here's the deal. I was not an athlete. I'm not a fighter, nor a tough guy. I was just Keith McElroy, the trumpet player, the typist. Yeah, I was a typist. In fact, I was the fastest male typist in Miss Watkins' Typing 2 class. That's because I was the only male typist in Miss Watkins' Typing 2 class. But I did get up to about 65 or 70 words a minute. And trust me, that helped me out tremendously throughout my career in the military and afterwards. So thank you, Miss Watkins. Anyway, the idea of me joining the military, the Army, and getting through basic training seemed far-fetched for many of those who knew me. Just another reason as to why I am proud to this day of my service, the challenges I faced, and the ups and downs I endured to make a career out of the military. And so to any of my other fellow service members here who too were doubted or even doubted themselves, congratulations, you did it. During basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, of the many exercises and presentations we observed, the one that stood out for me the most, then and to this day, was the mock war demonstration for us young troops to behold. The idea was for us to witness and understand how each of the branches of service are critical and work in collaboration with each other towards a common goal, the protection of these United States of America. That is when and where I gained great respect and pride in our total military. See, up until then, it was Army this, Army that, Army, 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 go Army, we are the best, we don't need anyone, we can do it all. That was until the exhibition, the showcase that revealed the truth. See, I learned that without the expertise of the Navy patrolling and above and below the seas, the Army's ability to take and hold ground would be quite difficult, if not impossible in some situations. The Navy's ability to cause havoc on land and on the seas was news to me, especially the land part. See, I thought that they were just sailors taking care of the seas and protecting our interests there. Little did I know, but pride and respect I gained. In addition, without the air power of the Air Force and their strategic cover of the skies, ground troops would be like sitting ducks waiting to be picked off. We need that supremacy of the skies to call in strikes and open the airways for ground troops to move through. As our eyes and our protective shield of the skies, the roar and sound of jets, so I've been told by combat veterans, is a wonderful sight to hear and an even more beautiful sight to see. When they call in and things are a bit too hot to handle, this is what they need. They need that firepower from the sky. Again, pride and respect gained. And who do we look to for overall support? Those damn Marines. Marines do a little of everything. They provide amazing support and skills necessary for the Army, Navy, and our Air Force to complete their missions, while also taking care and securing our beaches and waterfronts. Known as one of the most, if not the most, difficult basic training courses to complete, the fact that you're not even considered or called a Marine until graduation speaks volumes. Those men and women are cut from a different cloth. Marines were and different, and we need them. Respect and pride to the core. Lastly, but not least, the Coast Guard and the importance they bring to this nation. are often not well known or expressed. In fact, I had to go to Google and Wikipedia to learn a bit more about this particular branch. The Coast Guard, and I quote, ensures the nation's maritime safety, security, and stewardship. Duties include search and rescue, enforcing federal laws and seas, protecting ports and waterways, and defending the nation's maritime borders, unquote. In short, they are often behind the scenes, but extremely significant in the protection and security of the United States, especially during peacetime. Again, much pride and respect. But this was young Keith's first lesson at age 18 on how to acknowledge, embrace, and respect differences, even if you thought you knew what you were talking about based on how you were taught or raised in the past. I realized in the Army that life is all about learning, adjusting, and moving forward. We can never, ever forget that. But most importantly, we have to understand that it's never too late to change. After basic training, advanced individual training, AIT, was at Little Creek Naval Amphibious Base School of Music. And what do you know? For 6 months, I studied and trained alongside other Navy and Marine military musicians. Now, it was hard enough over the past 2 months in basic to learn the enlisted and officer ranks and the Army and its jargon. Now, on a Navy base, I was required to learn the ranks and jargon of the Marines and Navy too. Easy, right? Here are a few examples. I went from going to the bathroom at home in Pulaski to the latrine in the Army to the head in the Navy. Where is the bathroom? I mean, we buff floors in the Army, but we buff decks in the Navy. We walked up the staircase in the Army, but down the ladder in the Navy. A little weird. And don't make the mistake of thinking a captain in the Army, an 03, is the same as a captain in the Navy, which is an 06. So don't get those confused. And it didn't get any better either with the enlisted, the senior enlisted. I, at the very beginning, saluted way too many Navy E7s and above. But what do you expect? They changed uniforms for Pete's sake. They went to khakis and brass and hats and caps and lids. I'm getting confused right now just talking about it, but it was a total different change. But anyway, looking back, back in the bands, the Air Force and the Coast Guard have their own method of entry and training into their band field. And I'm not sure what is going on with our latest branch, the Space Force. That's pretty new. Is anyone here from the Space Force? I didn't think so. But all in all, this was just another reason we learned to respect our differences and embrace each other as service members in uniform, with one common goal: supporting and protecting the growth and trajectory of a more perfect union, and however one can contribute, a concept and notion that presently worries me. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a bill changing Armistice Day to Veterans Day, commemorating the 11th month, the 11th day, and the 11th hour, which is the time World War I ended. The day, month, and time that World War I ended. Veterans Day, unlike Memorial Day, is a day of celebration, commemorating those who have or are contributing to the protection of this country. It's an opportunity to remind us of bravery, might, and selfless service our armed forces demonstrate. And whether or not you served in uniform, especially spouses of our service members, you, along with hundreds of thousands who have or are supporting the military, are honored as well. Because just as I noted earlier, to be successful, it takes an array of different skills, personalities, backgrounds, and expertise with knowledge to complete and accomplish the nation's mission, which is to include being the mom or dad during different periods of a service member's career. So I say thank you to all of you. There is no shortcut. No shortcut will provide the necessary acumen which has been the backbone of our military, especially with our senior commissioned and non-commissioned officers, to achieve our common goal of protecting this nation and all its citizens and inhabitants. Veterans Day is a celebration for all of those who choose service over self, duty over comfort, and country over personal gain. Whether serving in combat or supporting missions at home or abroad, every role in the military, even the band. Two, they build towards the overall success and we respect and we strive to garner around the world. And admiration is being challenged to this day. And while we are not and have not been perfect, no country or military has been, the desire will and the desire and aim should be to be there, and we can't lose that. In closing, to the citizens who are here, those who have no connection with the military, but are here to celebrate just the same, I'm quitting. On behalf of the entire U.S. military, I thank you for your support, thoughts, and/or prayers. It is you who we fight for, and you who deserve it. Just by being here today, you help create the atmosphere that veterans love, valued, and respect. Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't give an extreme shout out to the families of our veterans, those who have survived separations, dealt with stress and great daily fears, and were there to support their loved ones through every challenge. Without you, your strength picking up the pieces, and your love and respect, that service member would not have been as successful as he or she is or was. Lastly, to my fellow veterans, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your lasting spirit. Take joy and pride in knowing that your oath, contributions, and allegiance to this nation's Constitution will never be forgotten, regardless of those who might think otherwise. I salute each of you. Army, this we will defend. Navy, not self, but country. Marines, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Coast Guard, Semper Paratus, always ready. Air Force, aim high, fly, fight, win. And Space Force, Semper Supra, always above. May your courage and dedication continue to light the way for future generations. Dave, Todd, thank you all so much again for this opportunity. I truly appreciate it. It has been a deep honor for me to be here today to address this wonderful audience. May we never forget the price paid and the promises fulfilled. God bless our veterans, God bless their families, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Keith. That was a wonderful message. I will say I don't think it's a coincidence, though, that the Marine Corps is last in the melody that you provided. While Veterans Day is primarily a tribute to America's living veterans and should be observed more as a celebration than a somber remembrance, out of respect and remembrance of our U.S. military service members who gave their lives for their country, Staff Sergeant McElroy will now play taps. Please stand and face the flag. Honor Guard, please retire the flags. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us today to honor our nation's veterans. Your presence truly makes this celebration special and a fitting tribute to those who have served. I'd also like to offer a special and sincere thank you to all the participants who made this ceremony possible. The Town of Smyrna Town Council, the Town of Smyrna Fire Department Honor Guard, our Parks and Recreation Department, my staff, Chaplain John Radzowski, Senior Commander Goodrow, the talented Stewarts Creek High School Apollo Contra Ensemble, and their directors, Dr. Susan Kelly and Dr. Brian Russell, and our esteemed keynote speaker, Staff Sergeant Robert Keith McElroy, all for sharing your time and talents with us today. As we conclude our ceremony, please join the VFW post 8422 for a complimentary lunch. They're generously hosting this for all in attendance today. They are located at 10157 Old Nashville Highway. We wish you all a meaningful and reflective Veterans Day. Thank you for coming.